Good day, everyone. You are welcome once again to our channel. And in the previous video, we'll look at the solution to question 6. In this video, we'll be looking at solutions to question 7 of May-June 2024 MET paper 1. Question 7 has to do with financial math. Okay, let's get to it. 6 years ago, Tabo bought a phone for 13,000. The value of the phone depreciated annually according to the reducing balance method. The value of the phone is now 8,337 rand 75 cents. Calculate the annual rate of depreciation. To solve this question, you would have to look at your formula paper at the back of your question paper. You will apply the formula A equals P multiplied by 1 minus I, everything exponent n. This A is the amount, P stands for the principal, I stands for the interest rate, and N stands for the number of periods. All right, so let's break everything down. Let's look at each variable. So here we have stated all the variable. So A, the amount, is the future worth of a property or an investment. So in this case, we were told that the phone is now this price or this amount. So that represents the amount. N is the number of periods. In this case, that will be 6 years. And P is the principal. That is the initial price of the phone. And I is what we were told to calculate. We don't have I. So let's just make appropriate substitution. So if we make appropriate substitution, this is the amount. 13,000 is the principal. Then the number of years is 6. And it said that it depreciated annually. So we are calculating on an annual basis, which is year. So you don't need to do any manipulation here. So next, all we have to do now is make that I, the interest rate, the subject. To make the interest rate the subject, we can look for a way to remove 13,000 from this right-hand side. So we divide both sides by 13,000. Therefore, this 13,000 cancels out 13,000. Then on the left-hand side, you have this amount divided by 13,000. That gives you 0.641365, and everything will be equal to 1 minus I, everything exponent 6. What I did here was to cancel these exponent 6. To do that, I multiply both sides by exponent 1 over 6. This 6 cancels out the 6 there. We have exponent 1 times 1, which is exponent 1. Therefore, we are freeing up this 1 minus I. So if you punch this into your calculator, it gives a value. So let's see how that is done on the calculator. For those of you in grade 10 who might like to do some practice. So we have this 0.641365, everything to the exponent of 1 over 6. 1 over 6. So that will give us a value of 0.928648. And in financial mathematics, we always recommend that you base your calculation on 5 decimal places until you get to the final answer. If you use less amount of decimal places, possibly they will penalize you for that. So the least amount of decimal places is 5 while you are still working. However, when you get to the final answer, you can approximate your answer to 2 decimal places. So if we solve for I here, I will be equal to 0.071. Remember, you have to multiply this by 100. If you do that, you will have a I value interest rate equals 7.1%. And that solves question 7.1. Next is question 7.2. Eric and Tandy need to save 80,000 Rand each to go on a holiday at the end of December 2027. Tandy decides that she will start saving at the end of January 2025. She will make 36 monthly deposits into a savings account that pays an interest at 8.6% per annum compounded monthly. So once you see this word compounded monthly or compounded biannually or compounded quarterly, you need to highlight that because you need to take that point into cognizance. The deposit will be made at the end of each month. Eric calculates that if he makes 48 deposits of 1,402 Rand 31 cents, starting at the end of January 2024, he will have enough money to go on holiday. He will make his deposits into a savings account at the end of each month. The savings account pays interest at 8.6% per annum compounded monthly. So this is also important you highlight that. The question now is calculate the difference between the total amount that Eric and Tandy would deposit into their respective savings account at the end of the given period. Okay, now to solve this question, we will have to calculate the monthly deposits by Tandy. To calculate the monthly deposit by Tandy, we will have to use the F formula. You can turn to your formula paper at the back of your question paper to see this formula, the F paper. So when you are savings, there are two similar formulae there, the F and the P formula. When you are saving into an account towards a particular goal, you have to use the F formula. On the other hand, if you receive a loan from bank and you are making monthly repayment, then you will have to use the P formula. It's important to know the difference between the two formulae. Now, here, the F, that is the future amount, will be the target, which is 80,000. Right? N equals 36, the number of months over which Tandy would save. I is the interest, which is 8.6%. That is what we are given here. And if you look at 8.6%, is the same as 8.6 over 100, which gives 0.086. And X is the monthly deposit, which we want to calculate here. So we have to make appropriate substitution. So this will be X, then 1, the interest, which is 0.086. And remember, there's a clause there. They said compounded monthly. So if it's compounded monthly, and we are talking of per annum here, compounded monthly, we have 12 months in a year. So that is the reason for the 12 you see there. Then raised to power n. This n is the number of months, which is 36. That is the 36 you are seeing there, minus 1, everything divided by I. So the I will still be 0.086 divided by 12. We can simplify further. And here, this is simplification of everything we have there. Let's drill down. So if we cross multiply, 80,000 multiplied by 0.0007167 would give us a value of 573.333, and that will be equal to X this. Next, we can simplify this bracket. This 1.007167 exponent 36 minus 1. We can simplify that, and that simplifies to this. The whole of this bracket simplifies to this number, then multiplied by X. Easily, we can calculate the value of X now. So X will be equal to this. And just simplify that. So X will be equal to 1,955 Rand 77 cents. That would be the monthly deposit made by Tandy towards our holiday. Now, the monthly deposit of Eric is clear, straightforward, and that is 1,402 Rand 31 cents. But before we look into Eric, let's see the total amount that Tandy would deposit. Since this is the monthly deposit of Tandy, then the total amount she will deposit over 36 months will be 1,955 Rand 0.77 cents multiplied by 36. So that means the total amount deposited by Tandy will be 70,407 Rand 64 cents. Now, to calculate the total amount deposited by Eric is simple. Since we have the monthly deposit of Eric, which is 1,402 Rand 31 cents in 48 months, the total amount deposited by Eric will be this amount times 48, and that will be 67 Rand 310, 67,310 Rand 88 cents. Now, we can find the difference between the amount that the two persons would deposit. So the difference will be the total amount deposited by Tandy minus the amount deposited by Eric. So it means that difference in their deposit will be 3,096 Rand and 76 cents. That answers question 7.2. Next is question 7.3. Lesibana was granted a loan of 225,000 Rand. The rate of interest for the loan is 9% per annum, compounded monthly. You highlight that compounded monthly. Lesibana will make monthly payment of 5,500 Rand, starting exactly 4 months after the loan was granted. How many payments will Lesibana make to settle the loan? The first thing we have to take into account here is that Lesibana only started to make the payment for the loan after 4 months. So during those 4 months, the original principal or the original amount collected would have accrued interest. So we will have to calculate the corresponding amount based on this principal in the first 4 months. So that is the first thing we have to consider. So you can see during the first 4 months, interest accrues on the loan, but no payments were made. The future value of the loan after 4 months can be calculated using the simple amount formula, using this formula here, right? So P, the principal, was the loan received, which is 225,000, and the interest would be 9. The interest was 9%, so that would be 9 over 100, which is 0.09. Then since the loan was compounded monthly, we have 12 months in a year, so the interest will be divided by 12, and that gives us a value of 0.0075. What we have to do now is to make appropriate substitution, right? So N equals 4 months, because she didn't start the repayment until after 4 months. So that is why we are calculating the amount of the loan after 4 months or during the first 4 months. So we do this. So we can see that the amount of the loan will be 231,826 Rand 32 cents at the end of the first 4 months. So that is the amount that we'll be working with. So this amount now becomes the new principal after the first 4 months. Remember, she starts to repay the loan after the first 4 months. So this is now the new principal. Now we have to look at the P formula. Remember, I told you in the previous question then that when you are making monthly repayment for the loan you collected from a bank or from an institution, then you would use the P formula. So what we do now is we now make appropriate substitution. So for the P formula, our new principal will be this amount. We don't know the number of payments that is made. We know that this lady made monthly repayment of 5,500, and the interest is what we have calculated here, 0.0075. Now we just substitute all these values into the P formula. So we just make necessary substitution. We have this, and our goal is to calculate N, which is the number of payment that Lesibana will make. Okay, so we just substitute here, right? We got this value here by cross multiplying. So 0.0075 multiplied by 231,826.3 would give us this value, right? Then we equate it to this numerator here, and we just drill down to solve for the value of N. So to solve for the value of N, we need to look for a way to remove this 5,500. So we divide both sides by 5,500. This cancels out this. Then on the left-hand side, this gives a value of this. Then we have 1 minus 1.0075 to the power of negative N. We drill down. So we take this positive 1 to the other side. So the left-hand side now gives us negative 0.68387, and we equate it to the right-hand side. Negative cancels negative. You are left with these values. Now, to calculate N is simple. It should be simple for you by now, since on the right-hand side, you have an exponent, right? This value, 1.0075, is the base of exponent negative N. So you can take this to the other side and it becomes the base of a log. Then you have this number there. So that means that negative n would have a value of negative 50.85, right? So negative cancels negative on both sides, and you can round up this value to 51 months. So it means that let's say now we have to repay our loan over the course of 51 months. All right, that solves all the questions in question 7. Next, we would answer the question 8. Till then, stay blessed. Bye for now.